Hello, dear students. Welcome to our online school. Let's start our English lesson. Today, we're going to continue to talk about space and universe. In this lesson, we will talk about different types of satellites. First, let's watch the video about the Earth's natural satellite, the Moon.
The Moon is a natural satellite. The Moon orbits the Earth, taking 28 days to do so, travelling in an anti-clockwise direction. The appearance of the Moon changes during each orbit, because only the part of it which reflects light from the Sun is visible. This changes as the Moon's position changes relative to the Earth. When the Moon is between the Earth and the Sun, it is not visible at all. When the Moon is on the opposite side of the Earth to the Sun, we see a full moon. In between these times, only a lesser part of the Moon's surface is visible.
So the Moon is the Earth's natural satellite. But there are also artificial satellites. What are they? Artificial satellites are devices which have been sent into orbit around the Earth for various purposes, such as communication and observation of weather. On the picture, you can see artificial satellites orbiting the Earth. Some artificial satellites collect information about the Earth's atmosphere, so the weather forecast can be made. Now, let's watch the video about weather satellite.
Weather satellites carry instruments to measure data such as cloud movements, then send it to weather stations on Earth. These satellites do not take photographs, but use special technologies to collect images of weather systems across the world. This picture shows a hurricane, Elena, in the Gulf of Mexico. Data from weather satellites is sent back to Earth by radio, where it is picked up and fed into computers. These computers can then generate photos from the signals, adding color and extra detail such as national boundaries.
Now, let's do the exercise. Mark the pictures which could represent weather satellites. Picture number 1. It takes photographs of cities. Can this picture represent weather satellites? No, it can't. Next one. It points towards outer space. Can this picture represent weather satellites? No, it can't. Next picture. It sends data to weather stations on Earth. Yes, weather satellites send data to weather stations on Earth. Well done. Next one. It relays TV signals. Can this picture represent weather satellites? No, it can't. Next picture. Polar satellite orbiting very quickly. Yes, this is a type of weather satellite. Great. And the last picture. It monitors the atmosphere. Yes, exactly. Weather satellites monitor the atmosphere. Great job! Satellites are used to relay radio, TV, and telephone signals to different parts of the world. They also help people to navigate by identifying their exact positions on the planet. Now, let's watch 4 videos that will describe each type of satellites. First video will tell us about Earth Station.
Communication signals are sent to satellites from Earth stations like this one. The large dishes also receive radio signals from satellites.
Next video is about Global Positioning System, or GPS.
GPS stands for Global Positioning System. This is a technology which uses 24 satellites to aid navigation. Signals from these satellites can be detected by handheld or vehicle GPS sets and allow a person's position to be determined anywhere in the world to within a few meters.
Now, Let's watch next video about satellite TV.
Many homes across the world now receive satellite television signals through a small dish. In the future, broadband internet may also be delivered to houses this way.
And the last video is about communication satellites.
This is a communication satellite positioned in a high geostationary orbit. It is able to carry thousands of voice, video and data communications at the same time.
There are also some satellites having sensing equipment which is aimed towards outer space. For example, the Hubble Space Telescope. Let's watch the video to know what it is.
The Hubble Space Telescope is a satellite which acts as a space observatory. It was the first such satellite above the Earth's atmosphere. The Hubble Space Telescope was launched into space by a space shuttle in 1990. Many other satellites are carried into space by rockets. The Hubble Space Telescope has a low-altitude orbit of 600 kilometers, which is clear of any interference from the Earth's atmosphere. Hubble travels at a speed of 444 kilometers per minute. The telescope collects information about distant galaxies as well as our own galaxy and sends signals back to Earth which can be made into images.
Now, as we have learned some information about the satellites, let's do the exercises. In the first exercise, we need to complete the sentences with the right options. This text is about the Hubble Space Telescope. Let's start. The Hubble Space Telescope is a GPS, pole, observe, or satellite. Satellite, exactly, which does not hydrosphere, universe, observe, or periscope. Observe, well done. It orbits the Earth at a high enough satellite, sun, altitude, or galaxies. The right answer is altitude, so that it can receive information which is not obscured by the periscope, observe, atmosphere, or universe. Atmosphere, great. The telescope has taken pictures of distant sun, galaxies, altitude, or hydrosphere. Galaxies, well done. Billions of light years from Earth, which were previously unknown. Good job! Next exercise. In this exercise, you need to match each description with the appropriate satellite. You now have some time to complete the task. Then we will check together. Now let's check. Number 1. Take photos of the Earth. Is this a description of communication satellites or other satellites? Other satellites, well done. Next one. Relay radio signals. Does this description refer to communication satellites or other satellites? This is a description of communication satellites, exactly. Number 3. Transfer internet signals between continents. Is this a description of communication satellites? Yes, it is. Number 4. Transmit information to Earth station. Does this refer to the communication satellites or other satellites? This statement refers to communication satellites. Well done. Spy on military activity. Is this a description of communication satellites? No, it's not. This is a description of other satellites. Next, point towards other galaxies. Is this a description of communication satellites? No, this is a description of other satellites. Next, travel at the same speed as the Earth rotates. Is this a description of communication satellites? Yes, it is. Great. And the last statement. Move mainly in polar orbits. Does this refer to communication satellites? No, it refers to other satellites. Fantastic! So today we have learned everything about the Earth's satellites. A satellite is a planet or machine that orbits the Earth. Now let's look at natural and artificial satellites of the Earth. The one and only natural satellite of the Earth is the Moon. But there are some different types of artificial satellites. They are communication satellites, GPS or Global Position and System satellites, weather satellites, and Earth station. This is the end of our lesson. Today we have learned a lot of new information about the satellites. I hope the lesson was interesting and useful. Thank you for your attention. Goodbye.